The empty chair from the story. Humanity walked out of peace talks. Now the galaxy regrets everything. The great Galactic Council chamber was filled with voices. Tall blue-skinned diplomats argued with insectoid ambassadors. Energy beings hovered above their seats. Pulsing with light as they shared silent thoughts, everyone was speaking, yelling, and pointing fingers. Everyone except the humans. Their seat was empty. Right at the center of the chamber, under the bright white lights, a black leather chair with a silver Terran Union badge sat still, untouched. Many looked at it with confusion, some with amusement, a few with fear. "They're late again," hissed Grand Minister Vorak, a reptilian elder from the Zorvak Empire. "They always act like they're more important than the rest of us," grunted Chancellor Brawl of the Iron Maw. "Maybe they're finally tired of being insulted," whispered a quiet voice from the back. It belonged to a young alien scholar, barely old enough to attend. No one listened to him. Then the doors opened. 5 humans walked in. They wore dark suits, long coats, and silver emblems shaped like Earth. Their faces were calm, but their eyes were sharp. They didn't speak, didn't smile, didn't bow. They simply walked to their place and stood. One of them, a woman with gray hair and a strong voice, stepped forward. Her name was Ambassador Lila Carter. She looked at the council, then at the chair. She didn't sit. "We are here," she said slowly, "for peace." The room grew quiet. For a moment, even the energy beings stopped glowing. Then came the laughter, a loud, echoing, disrespectful laugh from the Iron Maw Chancellor. "Peace? You humans always talk about peace, but act like gods," he mocked. "You think your ships make you special. Your minds make you wise, but you're nothing more than clever apes." Ambassador Carter didn't move. She only blinked once, then spoke again. "We've given too much, waited too long, watched too many worlds burn, because you wanted more." The council buzzed again, angry, defensive. The insectoid ambassador clicked his legs and shouted, "Are you threatening us? Earth has no right to lead. Humanity causes fear. They think they're better." The humans stayed silent, but their stillness was louder than any voice. Finally, Lila Carter turned to her team. Then she looked back at the chamber and said, "We are not your enemies. We wanted to help, to share, to guide, not to rule." She paused, her voice soft but strong. "We came hoping for unity," she said, "but all we found was pride." The other humans stood up. None of them sat in the empty chair. Lila looked at the seat one last time, then whispered something only her team could hear. "It's time." And they walked out. No threats, no anger, no war cries, just silence. But somehow, that silence was heavier than any declaration of war. As the humans disappeared through the tall steel doors, something strange happened. The lights above their seat flickered. The council systems glitched for a moment. A cold wind swept through the hall, but there was no wind in space. Ambassadors looked at each other, uneasy. What just happened? Someone asked. No one answered. Then the screens in the chamber turned black. A message appeared. Just 2 words in human language. "We tried," across the galaxy, stations that once held. Human patrols reported silence. No signals, no responses, nothing. Earth was gone, and for the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy, the mighty council, felt fear, not from ships, not from weapons, but from an empty chair. Silence in the star space used to hum with signals, from every star system, every outpost, every scout drone. Messages bounced between civilizations, some friendly, some political, some just noise. But now, a quiet hole had opened in the galaxy. A silence too big to ignore. That silence had a shape. It matched the outline of Earth's. Old patrol zones, entire regions once protected by human fleets, were now empty. No patrol beacons, no cargo escorts, no help requests answered. Just static. The council tried to ignore it. At first, they called it temporary withdrawal. They sent probes, they sent ships, they sent words. But nothing came back in a small border system called Viren's Edge. A trade ship screamed through the black. "We're under attack," the captain shouted. No response from Earth Command. "Please assist." Then silence. The message was never answered. 1 week later, a scouting crew from the Anderith Empire found the ship, or what was left of it, floating, burned, engines torn open, like they had been bitten. No sign of the crew. Only one thing remained, a human badge. Melted into the pilot's chair, it sent fear racing through the stars. Back in the council hall, the discussions turned darker. "They left us," growled the Zorvak leader. "Now pirates think they own the sky. We never needed them anyway," snapped another voice, but it was shaking. They all knew the truth without humanity. Order was falling apart. A merchant convoy disappeared near the Iron Maw border. An Anderith research colony stopped sending updates. Refugees flooded the outer systems, all saying the same thing. "There's something out there, but it's not human, and it doesn't speak." The silence spread like a shadow, not just physical, but political, emotional, strategic. Everyone used to check Earth's stance before they acted. Now they acted blindly, and blindly they paid the price. A council surveillance team located a derelict human outpost near the rim. They'd boarded it, weapons drawn, unsure what they'd find. But there were no bodies, no battle, only a single screen blinking with the words, "We remember." And then something strange happened. The Zorvak exploration ship, Treva-6, crossed into an old human supply zone. Their systems froze. Every screen on their bridge turned black. A voice spoke, not from outside, but inside their own computers. "You were warned," it said, in perfect Zorvak language. Then the ship shut down completely. No engines, no life support. They had to be rescued manually. Drifting powerless in open space, fear turned into paranoia. Allies blamed each other. Old rivalries returned. The Anderith accused the Iron Maw. The Maw accused the Council. The Council blamed Earth. But Earth was no longer answering. And through all of it, no one truly knew. Were the humans doing this? Or had they simply left and taken their order with them? What was worse? A human hand behind the chaos, or no human hand at all? Ambassador Lila Carter's final words replayed across news networks. "We came hoping for unity," she had said, "but all we found was pride." Now the galaxy understood. They hadn't just lost a species. They had lost their anchor, and the stars, once so full of light, felt colder now. No one saw it yet, but far beyond their reach, hidden in quiet corners of space, humanity was watching. They hadn't left. They had simply gone quiet, and in that silence, the galaxy began to unravel. The price of mockery, it started with a broadcast. No one knew where it came from. The signal wasn't tracked to any system, station, or ship. It just appeared. The screen flickered to life in the council chamber. No announcement, no warning. The faces of every council member froze as they saw what played. A high-ranking alien official, Councillor Kren of the Velari Dominion. He was shaking, dirty and crying. The room behind him burned in red, alarms blaring, shadows moving behind. "Smoke," he screamed. "Please, tell Earth we were wrong. Tell them we were blind. Tell them we're sorry." Then came the sound, not weapons, not explosions, a deep, mechanical hum, cold and steady, as if the universe itself was breathing in fear. The screen went black. No trace of the signal could be found. The council chamber sat in silence. No one laughed this time. Councillor Kren was never found. The Velari homeworld tried to cover it up. They claimed technical error. But intelligence leaks showed something else. The entire Velari research complex had vanished. No wreckage, no bodies, just scorched ground and silence. That night, a second message played across 20 systems. No voice this time, just a phrase in bold Terran standard. We heard your laughter. The mocking words the Council once threw at humanity echoed in their own minds. Primitive species, emotion-driven fools, peace-loving cowards. They had laughed when humans spoke of unity. They had smirked when humans walked away. But now, no one was smiling. Entire fleets rerouted away from old human zones. Trade routes were abandoned. Security forces doubled, not to protect from war, but from ghosts. Because that's what it felt like. Ghosts of Earth. Invisible eyes in the dark. Ships going dark near long-dead human stations, satellites drifting. Then suddenly vanishing from sensors. A report came in from the outer rim. A science ship orbiting a collapsed moon encountered something strange. An object, smooth, black, shaped like a sphere, just floating. When they tried to scan it, their systems shut down. A message played in the captain's headset. You built walls of arrogance. Now breathe in their collapse. The crew abandoned ship in terror. The sphere remained untouched by time. In the shadows of the galaxy, rumors spread. Some said the humans had built A-fleets that now roamed freely. Some believed Earth was building something massive, silent, waiting. A few believed the humans had transcended technology, and were. Now something else entirely. The Council tried to remain calm. They passed public messages saying, diplomatic pathways remain open. But behind closed doors, they panicked. Every race began preparing for something, though they couldn't. Agree on what the Zorvik leader called a secret meeting. There is no logic in fear, he said, but the absence of logic is exactly what defines the humans. Back on Earth, or what the Council thought was Earth, there was only silence, no transmissions, no signals, no satellites leaving orbit. The blue planet had gone dark, but deep beneath the oceans, deep beneath the soil, something was waking, not in anger, but in remembrance, not in revenge, but in resolution. The humans had not forgotten. They had recorded every insult, every betrayal, every moment they were dismissed, not to punish, but to remember. And now, as the galaxy stumbled in their absence, humanity's silence became the loudest message of all. The price of mockery was now being paid by everyone else. When mercy dies, the Endereth Empire had once stood proud, tall and sharp with golden horns and a voice that echoed across systems. They were the first to mock humanity during the peace talks, the first to vote against Earth's proposals, and the first to call humans too emotional to lead. Now they were the first to kneel. High above the Council's core moon, an Endereth vessel drifted into orbit. Its engines barely worked. Its lights flickered, and its shields had collapsed. Inside, Chancellor Kavar of the Endereth, a leader known for pride, sent one desperate message. To the Terran Union, he whispered, voice cracked and broken. If you hear this, we are sorry. We didn't understand. We didn't see. A pause. They're coming for us now, he said, eyes wide. But it's not war. It's erasure. The transmission ended with a loud screech, then static, nothing more. The Asten, Endereth homeworld never responded again. Scouts sent to investigate found only a shell. No bodies, no weapons, no signs of invasion, just cities. Empty, as if the entire population had vanished into thin air. The Council gathered again in panic. Whispers echoed across the chamber. Is it the humans? Are they doing this? No, it's worse. It's what they left behind. That same night, a strange signal repeated across 9 systems. A pattern of symbols, ancient Terran language. One historian decrypted it, and his face turned pale. It says, mercy has ended. Counselor Brawl of the Iron Maw slammed his fist on the table. This is madness, he roared. Humans don't fight like this. But deep inside, even he remembered the stories of silent fleets, dark satellites, black code written in living AI. technology the Council never understood, but always feared. The Inari Star Monastery, once protected by Terran forces, now lay in ruins, not destroyed, but drained. Its power cells gone, its monks missing. A recording remained, an old human guardian speaking softly to the camera. "You mocked our peace, you laughed at our patience," he said, "but you forgot something. Patience is not weakness. In system after system, ancient human technology activated on its own. AI units once programmed for defense now followed new orders, not from Earth, but from memory. They did not kill, they simply erased. Ships would. Blink off sensors, fleets would go silent, colonies would vanish. No war, just absence. The Council's smartest minds tried to trace the source. They found nothing. Every attempt to hack the Terran grid was blocked. Every drone sent into Earth's old territories simply stopped mid-flight, frozen in space, and then burned from the inside. The surviving diplomats of smaller races began to beg, not the humans, but the Council. "Make peace with them," they cried. "Apologize, send gifts, offer land, anything." But Earth wasn't listening, because Earth wasn't speaking. Because mercy, the last thing humanity offered, had died. Not in war, but in disappointment, the Council voted to send one last envoy. A group of 12 from 12 different species. They traveled in a silver ship, clean and respectful, carrying symbols of apology, relics, treaties, DNA samples, anything they thought humans might value. They arrived near Sol and found only black. The sun still shined, the planet still turned, but Earth was covered in clouds. A thick metallic fog surrounded the planet, moving like it was alive. The envoy tried to speak. No response. Then their ship's lights flickered, and one final message appeared on their main screen. "You taught us to feel shame for kindness. You taught us that mercy was weakness." We learned, and then their ship was turned around. Automatically, not destroyed. Not boarded, just rejected. The envoy returned in silence. Not a word spoken during the entire flight home. And when they landed, the lead diplomat said only one thing: "Earth has closed its heart." And the galaxy realized something far more. Terrifying than war, humanity had not become their enemy. They had become their judge, and the galaxy, for the first time, had been found unworthy. Earth remained silent. They had tried everything. Messages, envoys, symbols of peace, poems written in Terran dialects, ancient codes of respect, even sacred oaths made under starlight. But Earth said nothing. Earth answered no one. The Council gathered. Again, smaller now, quieter. Some seats were empty, their species either gone or silent. No one said the word extinct out loud, but everyone thought it. "We must do more," whispered Councillor Varric of the gentle Ilyari race. "They once stood with us. Now they watch while we fall." "But how do you reach a planet that no longer listens?" asked another. No one had the answer, so they tried again. A new message was crafted, simple, sincere, and humble. To the humans of Earth, we were wrong. We mocked what we did not understand. We feared what we could not control, and in doing so, we lost your trust. We seek not forgiveness, but a chance to be better together. They sent the message using every known channel. They sent it through light, sound, gravity pulses, quantum strings, and then they waited. Days passed, then weeks, then 3 cycles of the galactic core. Earth remained quiet. No signal, no flicker, no breath. But across the galaxy, strange things began to happen. A mining station near the Red Veil Nebula found one of its vaults open. Inside it, a single Terran device glowing softly. When touched, it played a sound, a child's laugh, warm, human, innocent. And then the words, "You had your chance." At the edge of Zorvek territory, a fleet reported a formation of unknown ships, long, smooth, blackish shadow. They made no threats, no movement. They just stared and then vanished. No one knew if they were drones, or human-piloted, or something else entirely. But their presence left tremors. Ships refused to enter those systems again. Spaceports closed entire lanes. Pilots whispered stories of being watched even in dreams. The council grew desperate. A meeting was held in secret. Some wanted to build a monument for Earth, the size of a moon, as an apology. Others argued to give humans full control of council command if they returned. A few, in panic, suggested declaring Earth a threat and preparing defenses, but who would lead it? Who would fight? Who would even dare to stand in the path of a race that could silence stars? No one across the stars. A new fear had taken root, not of war, but of abandonment, because nothing felt more terrifying than being left behind. Unworthy, forgotten, judged, children on alien worlds began to ask questions. Why did the humans leave? Will they ever come back? What did we do wrong? One child on the moons of Dravax looked up at her teacher and asked, "Is Earth still there?" The teacher paused. "Yes," he whispered, "but it no longer shines for you, and still?" Earth remained silent, but in that silence, cities glowed beneath dense clouds, satellites danced silently over oceans. Massive stations drifted just beyond the edge of Sol, watching, waiting, remembering. Inside one of those stations, a call of those stations. A call. Human woman sat in front of a screen. She read the council's latest message. She didn't cry, didn't smile. She simply whispered, "They still don't understand." Then she closed the message and looked out at the stars, not in anger, not in hate, but in grief, because what the galaxy had broken wasn't peace, it was trust, and Earth had no more words to give. The turning point, the message, was not sent through official channels. It didn't come from the council, the military, or any planetary authority. It arrived through an old frequency, once used by Terran rescue beacons, a soft signal, buried beneath static, faint, but real. It showed a little girl, human, no more than 9 cycles in age. She had curly hair, dark eyes, and wore a small Terran badge on her sleeve. She wasn't crying. She wasn't angry. She just spoke. "My name is Aya," she said. "My father said the stars used to be kind." The signal glitched for a moment, then cleared. She looked up at something behind the camera, smiled sadly, then continued, "He said the council forgot what kindness looks like, so Earth had to remember it alone. No threats, no demands, just her words and silence." But the galaxy was listening. Every diplomat, every admiral, every elder species watched that message replay again and again, because behind her, in the reflection of her eyes, they saw it, massive structures, spinning rings the size of moons, dark fleets with engines that bent light itself, a station so large it blocked out the stars behind it. Humanity had not stopped. They had not slept. They had built, in silence, in exile, in memory. Aya looked back at the camera one last time. "My father said," she whispered, "mercy ends when it's mocked." Then the signal cut across the galaxy. Chaos deepened. Council fleets were now blind in sectors that once sparkled with trade. Navigation hubs collapsed. Communication relays fell silent. Entire defense systems refused to boot. Overwritten by code no one could decrypt. It wasn't war. It was erasure. One by one, species turned inward. Civil wars sparked. Colonies rioted. Governors vanished. And above it all, like shadows behind glass, Terran ships appeared. Not to strike, but to watch. Their design had changed. No flags, no names, no heat signatures. Only smooth black hulls that shimmered like liquid metal. They made no sound, fired no weapons, but their presence made fleets retreat, made generals surrender without a shot. Some tried to reach out, an old friend of Earth. The Relari monk Ashun sent a prayer transmission to the humans who once protected our stars. he said. "We remember your kindness. We were silent when they insulted you. We regret that now." He never got a reply, but the next day, his monastery, once failing, received unknown cargo. Medical supplies, ancient scrolls, pure energy cores, no message, no mark, just a single card. Kindness remembers. That was the moment everything changed, not because of fear, but because the galaxy began to understand humanity had not vanished. They had evolved, not into conquerors, but into keepers of silence, watchers of judgment, givers of one last chance. Some called them ghosts, others called them gods, but the ones who understood called them teachers. The council met again, smaller than ever, no speeches, no debates, no chairs, just a circle, standing in quiet awe. "What do we do now?" One whispered, and from the back, an elder answered, "We wait for the final test." All turned to him, confused. He looked up at the sky beyond the chamber dome and said, "Because when the stars fall quiet, the next sound we hear will be their judgment." And far across the void, in a chamber deep within the Terran core, a child, Aya, pressed her hand against glass. Behind her floated a fleet unlike anything history had recorded, and a voice, gentle and human, asked, "Are you ready?" She nodded once in earth, still silent, prepared to speak again. The day the stars watched, it began with light. Not fire, not explosions, just light. Bright columns of silver descending across council worlds. Not from above, but from between. Between dimensions, between gravity, between understanding, no. Alarms triggered, no warnings flashed, because whatever had arrived didn't break into reality. It slipped in. On the old world of Drakvor, skywatchers wept. They had never seen such shapes. Ships with no engines, no wings, no sound, moving like thoughts across clouds, casting reflections that showed memories instead of shadows. A broadcast activated across every known channel. It didn't begin with a human flag. It didn't begin with an anthem or a threat. It began with silence, and then a voice not mechanical, not artificial, a voice of age, of memory, warm, human, and calm. "We are not here to conquer. We are not here to forgive. We are here to watch." Every leader, every species, every soul who had once spoken against Earth froze. They gathered before screens, windows, temples, open air. Even those who had never seen a human now stared into the light, because deep inside they knew the stars had become a mirror, and that mirror now reflected their truth. The ships did not move. They circled key worlds: Council Prime, Zorvak's Forge, Andrith Skyhull, Velari Cradle. They did nothing. They said nothing. But their presence was enough. On Council Prime, children stood beside their elders in silence. One child whispered, "Will they hurt us now?" The elder replied, "No. They will let us see ourselves." Across the stars, systems began to shake, not from weapons, but from guilt. Files surfaced, records of betrayals, backroom deals, hidden massacres, lies told to justify the mockery of a race that had only asked for unity. The galaxy was not being invaded. It was being revealed. In the chamber of the fallen, a place where war crimes were buried, a light appeared. One word glowed on the floor. Remember, those who had hidden the truth began to speak. Those who had mocked the humans now begged their own people for forgiveness. Not because Earth demanded it, but because Earth didn't. That was the greatest weight. There was no anger left in them, only stillness. Then came the final signal, a voice that played once and never repeated. "We gave you centuries. We offered peace. You answered with laughter. So we left. And now we return, not to rule, but to remember. The stars watched. And now, so do we." The ships vanished, all at once, all at peace. Not a trace of heat, Not a ripple of time, just silence again. But something had changed. Every system, every planet, every species now carried a new calendar, year one, after the watching, in. Schools, children were taught what happened, not through books, but through stories told in whispers. And in those stories, one line remained forever. The humans didn't strike. They didn't shout. They didn't destroy. They watched, and that was enough. Some say humanity still listens. Some say they live in the folds between galaxies. Some believe they only return when history begins to rot. Again, but one truth is now carved into the skin of the stars. The day humanity walked away, the galaxy lost its light. The day they came back, the stars remembered how to see, and from that day forward, the galaxy lived not in fear of war, but in fear of forgetting, because mercy had died, but memory had not.